I wanted to talk today about the spiritual meaning of birthmarks and what the research from Ian Stevenson and Dr. Jim Tucker has brought to our attention about the meaning of birthmarks. Of course, their work has been on reincarnation and about how trying to demonstrate that it's an actual fact. I was explaining this research to a very good friend of mine, Gabriella, and she started to unbutton her shirt, and I thought, what are you doing? And so she showed me a birthmark in the middle of her chest, and she said that she had, her whole life, had a pain in her back that the doctors could never find a reason for. They took MRIs, x-rays, and they could find nothing wrong with her back. But it happened to be on the opposite side of the birthmark in her chest. Until she went to a spiritual healer who explained what the situation was, that in a previous life she was shot and killed through the heart, but the bullet had lodged in the spine. And so when she was born into her new life, she still had this spiritual injury in her spine. And she lived with that. So there was a dark spot in her spiritual body, which the spiritual healer was able to fill, and then the pain went away. The thing that went along with the pain was she had a deathly fear of rifles, not pistols, but only rifles, because it turns out that's how she was killed in a previous life. And what you can see from a general aspect from this story and the work from Stevenson and Tucker is that if people are reincarnated, or souls are reincarnated relatively quickly, their spirit doesn't have time to heal. And they bring that injury into their new host body when they're born. And you can see from anecdotal stories from children being born that this birthmark appears relatively quickly after they're born. And that is the spiritual body putting the injury into the physical body because it's injured. What we also learn from this story and this anecdote is that there are fears that come into the life from a previous life. So somebody who has a deadly fear of flying may have that fear because in a previous life that's how they died, in a plane crash. Or a fear of water, somebody who drowned in a previous life. So by doing previous life studies, we can help to get rid of that unexplainable fear, which can help people to live a better life. And that's really the only time that I suggest people do past life studies. Somebody who has something that they can't explain, and find out maybe that happened in a previous life, and I need to go back to that previous life to get rid of the fear or the anger or the emotion that's associated with that previous life.